Hi guys, I just want to come on here and tell you guys that there are different types of police officers. In every profession you have your good and your bad. And the small bad will outweigh the good. So what I'm saying is things will happen, and it's a reflection on all people in their profession. So as a law enforcement officer for almost 24 years, working as the captain in the Internal Affairs Division, it's hard because we investigate officer misconduct, employee misconduct under the umbrella of the police department. And I am a true believer in to much is given, much is required. Blessed are the peacemaker, because they will be called the children of God. So, to much is given, much is required. And you got different type of people that go into law enforcement. You have the person that's looking for a job. And I'm going to break all of them down till you got the person that's looking for a job. So they hiring, they pay good, so I'm going to go with this job. They have no moral compass or the reason why they want to be a law enforcement officer. And those people are dangerous. People that's looking for a job is dangerous. And when I mean dangerous is they're not only a danger to possibly the community, but themselves and other law enforcement officers, because this is not a serious job to them. They think this just signing up and working for McDonald's or something like that. They don't know that they're putting their lives on the line. They don't know how precious that is. They're preserving lives and property. They don't know how precious that is. They don't know the meaning or the definition of taking care of the person that's working alongside you. So they just looking for a job. So they just out here just doing stuff. Then you have the lazy officer. The lazy officer. That means he's not going to do anything unless he has to. Those are the worst officers as well, because you have situations where if you're the first officer on scene, that means what you do can make or break a case. So you have officers that get to a point to where they done got lazy. They're just coming in, they're clocking in. They're not breaking any laws. They're just doing the bare minimum. Their desire to work is toilet water. So they just there. Then you have the officer, the bully. That officer is a person that has never been anything in their lives. They've been bullied by other people. And they see this their opportunity to come on and they bully the people that they supposed to serve and protect. Not only them, they bully other officers because they never had any power or authority over their lives. They always been the coward. I call a bully a coward. So you have those type of officers. So when they go out in the community, they're being a big bully. They're mistreating people. They're asserting their authority when they don't have to. And those are the type of officers that I say, do you want to be feared or respected? And, oh, I want to be feared. Why you want to be feared? You want to be respected. Because when people fear you, you can end up getting hurt. Not only that, you can end up hurting somebody because you want somebody to fear you. And I tell officers, if you're out there, you're back up 5 minutes away, and you're in a fight, a lot of times it's going to be that citizen that come out and help you. And if you're going around bullying, mistreating people, those people are not going to come and help you. They are not going to come and help you. So we done talked about the officer that's looking for a job. We done talked about the lazy officer. We done talked about the bully. Let's talk about the criminal. The criminal is a person that has been a criminal all their lives. They just ain't got caught. So they become law enforcement officers as a way to continue their criminal activity. Those are some dangerous people, not only to the community, but law enforcement as a whole. So they never stop. They have no ethical, moral value whatsoever. This job is just a way to continue the activity that they were doing before they became police officers. Then you have the prejudice, the person that don't know how to deal with and get along with people from different ethnic backgrounds. Those people can be dangerous as well. You got people that pick out people, minorities, or you have people that pick out women and they abuse their powers in that way. You got officers that may only seek out people that, say, for instance, a person of color driving a nice car. They may have on the chains, they may have a car that they profile or whatever, and they take advantage of those people. They mistreat them. They arrest them for things that they have not done. So you have those people that have a racial issue, people who just say they racism. Racism is a big thing in law enforcement. So you have those type of people that seek out people that they believe that people don't care about, that they believe that they are superior than, and they abuse their police powers. Okay, so we done talked about the person just looking for a job. We done talked about the lazy officer. We done talked about the bully. And we done talked about the criminal. And we also done talked about the person that's racist. The last officer that I want to talk about is the officer that, like myself, an officer saved my life. I was a young girl going through some things, and an officer saved my life. And I always knew that I wanted to give back to the community. I done seen some things that happened in my family, some things, terrible things in my community. And so I want to give back to the community. I will go and do whatever I can to seek the truth, go off facts, and try to be objective and not subjective. And be able to look at myself in the mirror and knowing that I helped somebody, or I prevented somebody from going to jail for something that they didn't do. I did what was right when sometimes you're the only one that's standing up for what's right. So that's another type of officer. That's the best officer to be. You got officers that give their lives for people every day that they don't know. They go out here, and all these other officers that I talked about, you still have some good officers out here who come here, who have a purpose and a reason for being here, that want to be here, know why they are here. That's the type of officer that you will want. There's another type of officer that I don't want to forget. The officer that he's neither nor none of those people. He want to make a name for himself. So if you violate a small misdemeanor, say you speeding 2 or 3 over the speed limit, your insurance may be expired, your tag may be expired, that regardless of what goes on, this officer is going to write you a ticket. This officer here is going to follow the law to the book, which we all should do. But there's a thing called officer discretion. And I'm going to get off of here, but I'm going to give you a brief scenario. When I was a rookie officer, I thought that before I became my own officer, you know, when you go through the academy, you're doing it somebody's way. When you go through training, FTO training, field training officer, they teach you a certain way to do things. And you have to take all of the things you have learned and become your own officer. So as a rookie officer, if you did something, I'm writing you a ticket. I'm following the law. Strictly by the law, ain't nobody sliding. So one day, now the person that told me this was because I was arresting a white person. But it did make sense. The person was wrong and I should have arrested the person. And I was the type of officer that I'm going to get the most felonies for the month. You know, I'm here to serve and protect. I'm here to get the bad guys off the street. So this one particular time, I was arresting a white female. And my supervisor at the time, he was white. And he was upset because I was arresting this female in front of her child. I could see that. But the female needed to go to jail. She had warrants, and I had to take her to jail. He had 2 issues with it. Well, 3 really. That I was a black officer arresting a white female in front of her child. But in the second issue that he had was that officer discretion. That I was the type of person, I didn't break any laws. I didn't mistreat anybody. But if you broke the law or you did something, regardless if it's minor, and according to the law, you need to go to jail or be punished for it. That's what I did. And he got on to me and he said, you don't have to take everybody to jail. There's a such thing as officer discretion. But me knowing that it wasn't about that, because I had did the same thing to black people. But this time it was a white person. But once I sat back and got over being angry, because the reasoning behind his thing wasn't to teach me something or instill some values in me, I had to turn it into a positive and sit back and think, you're right. I don't have to take everybody to jail. I could use my discretion as an officer. Quick scenario. I pulled over this lady. She had 5 kids in the car. Nobody had a seatbelt on. Her car was really inoperable. No, one headlight. Tag was expired. You open the door, the car was just falling apart. So I stopped her because her tag was expired. And I walked up to her car. And I saw all these children in the car. Nobody had a car seat or a seat belt. And one of the children in the back was her daughter. And she looked like she couldn't be no more than 15 years old. And she was also pregnant. And so I made contact with the lady and I told her who I was and the reason for the stop. And she just went to talking. You know, sometimes we have to listen to what people are saying. She just went to saying, you know, I know. I said, ma'am, your tag is expired. Your car really and truly don't need to be on the road. It's dangerous. Nobody in here has on a seatbelt. And then you got smaller kids in here that don't have a car seat, according to the law. And she was like, yeah, I'm struggling. I just got a divorce. I had to move out of my house. I'm just starting to work, and this is all I got, or whatever. And so I looked at her and her sincerity, and I said, I'm going to let this lady go. Officer discretion. I stopped her because her tag was expired. So I said, ma'am, you need to get a tag. Go to a secondhand store or something, get your kids some car seats. I said, you need to go straight home, which her house was like around the corner. I said, these kids need to be secured in this vehicle. And I tried to give her information to help her out in her situation. Programs that can benefit her and to helping her get on her feet. And I gave her this information, and I didn't write her no tickets. I could have got her for her insurance. She didn't have insurance. Her tag was expired. I could have gave her a ticket for every child that wasn't in a restraint or a seat belt. But I didn't, because if I took this woman to jail, she's the sole provider for her family. That means she possibly gonna lose the job that she just got. Right? And then she gonna still be in the same predicament. So any added thing to her was gonna break her. So even though that sergeant told me about officer discretion, but he was angry about the situation, but I had to take the lesson out of it and learn something. Everybody don't need to go to jail. Major stuff, yes, but you got to use your discretion, and you got to use your discernment from God. That would have done that woman no good, and I would have went on. And at the time, I was a single parent of 3. And I knew that she was on the brink of losing everything. So why would I push her over the edge to lose everything? So the only thing that I could do was encourage her, tell her what she could do, make some suggestions, and let her go on her way, because she still had small children, a 15-year-old girl that was pregnant, and she was barely making it. So all this to say, you guys, no matter what you see on TV, or matter what's going on, and all the different officers that I told you about in this video, there's those type of people in every profession. But a lot of and majority of the officers that are out here working are good officers. And me in the situation that I am in, working as an internal affairs investigator, it's hard. You know, you want to do right by the citizens because that's your job. If an officer done violated some rules, some regulations, and you want to make sure that you're not railroading and you're doing what's best for the officer. And that could be suspension, that could be training, that could be termination. But we got to remember, all officers are not bad. Some of them need training. Some of them may need positive reinforcement, such as suspension or whatever. And then there are those that you cannot help that need to be terminated. But my job is to be fair and seek the truth, not be subjective, but be objective at all times. And police officers are human. and they have families to take care of too. And I'm not saying that the citizen is like a customer. They always right, because everybody got their motive when it comes to something. You know, we receive complaints where they mad because they got a ticket. So they come and say the officer was unprofessional. Or they make a big deal out of something because they were arrested and they lie on the officer. That does happen. So just though you got bad officers, you got bad citizens as well. So I just want to come on here and tell you guys to continue to support law enforcement, because without law enforcement, period, regardless of some of the bad apples that we have, without law enforcement, it would be chaos for real. It would be chaos everywhere. So you got to have people to enforce the law. You just want them to do it the right way, the godly way. But there are some good law enforcement officers out here that's working for the greater good of their community and to fulfill the purpose that God has laid out for them. So I just wanted to come on here and tell you guys that. Until next time, bye guys.